Hello, Steve White. Steve White's 89 or Trek Boy 89, but it's a Doctor Who video, but I am a Star Trek fan. Um, yeah, there's a bit of confusion about the next season of Doctor Who. Disney basically sort of took over Doctor Who. They sort of invested some money and sort of started acting like they owned the license, and they started to favour Disney Plus rather than the usual sort of BBC release, and just doing them in conjunction, but sort of prioritising Disney. And it's there's been issues. It didn't get the reception people thought it was going to. Some people put that down to it being a different season. Other people put it down to general lack of interest over time, or just it not sort of being marketed well, or the American public not being as receptive as they thought it would be. They seem to think that they threw a bunch of money at the budget, they'd basically automatically just get more, viewers. And there was some question about whether they were going to get a third season, because they apparently did two seasons together. They sort of signed on for two seasons, and that they were already in the bag, and they're sort of been budgeted for, and they're definitely happening. Season 2 is definitely happening. But there's some questions as to whether they're going to get a season 3, and how that's going to come out is now even more in doubt, or more in question, because initially, oh God, what's the name? The RTB, whatever his name is, he basically was saying, look, we have to get the stories ready by August, which is past, so they will be ready to go into production early next year, because Shooty's gone off to do a play, the importance of being earnest, and then we basically, once he's finished that, we're going to go into production. But now they're saying that, and this seems to have changed, some people feel, since the ratings and the doubting of whether they're actually going to get a season 3, because the talk is that Disney isn't impressed and they're just going to leave it where it is, just consider it like a one-off thing they tried, and then Doctor Who will either be cancelled, or BBC will just go back to making it on a smaller budget, which would be a step back. And it seems to be not what they want, because they seem to want to have someone license it to someone else and have them pay for it and make it. And if Disney or no one else will do that, and they have to go back to making it, will they, because profitability, blah, 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 there's talk that it might get cancelled. Or that it was heading towards being cancelled because the ratings were continually going down and blah, blah, blah. So, yeah, the statement sort of seems to be now that we won't actually go into production for season 3 until after season 2's aired and we get a renewal, because they're basically saying we haven't been renewed for season 3 and we won't get a renewal until they see how season 2 airs, which would suggest that, yes, they are looking at the ratings and looking to see if they're going to make money out of it, because they don't want to pay for a third season unless it's going to be profitable, unless they can grow the interest in the series by repeats of the first season, and then the second season, maybe if people watch the repeats of the first season, or they watch the first season over time on streaming, then when season 2 comes out, will they be excited for it and come out to support it, or will it do the same or less than the first season? Because traditionally people tune in for a new show, and if not everyone finds interest in it, not everyone wants to follow it, and interest goes down. Not a lot of shows the interest goes up, or steadily goes up. Some do. Often they start off well and go down a little. Some drop off. They have moments where the story changes, or something about the show just falls out of favour with people, and it just drops off a cliff, and then it's cancelled. So there's lots of ways this can go. But the question is, of course, if they're not going to start production on season 3 until they get a green light, which they won't get until season 2 is aired, that means they won't be able to have it up the next year, obviously, because you need to be working on it like 6 months or a year before, because the production, especially with the bigger production from Disney and the more effects and everything, they're going to need more time to actually do pre-production, post-production, everything. So does that mean we're going to have another gap of a year between shows, and it actually won't air until the next year, 2026? Or are they working in pre-production, assuming they're going to get the actual green light, to actually start production properly and actually start filming the episodes? Will they have all the scripts and everything ready, and all they need is the go signal, basically? Or will they be starting from scratch after they get that signal, that green light at after season 2's aired, in which case they will not be able to get it on air the same time that next year? It will actually be delayed. And we've had this problem with Doctor Who, where there's been gaps of a year or so between seasons, although I haven't been watching it too closely, but I heard that was a problem, and I was vaguely aware that there wasn't Doctor Who this year, or there was just going to be a special or something, and there was a lot of drama with all that, and people weren't happy with that. And part of it was because of the that happened that delayed a lot of productions everywhere. But other times it just seemed to be that the BBC just wasn't really coordinated or committed to actually getting the show out that year or whatever. So it's a bit of a mess. I don't know what's happening, but I just want to talk about it for a minute because it does seem to support the rumours that a third season is in doubt from Disney, because they're not just going straight into season 3. They seem to be waiting to see how season 2 does, which implies they weren't happy with how season 1 did, and they're hoping that they can actually change that and improve that for season 2, and then that will justify going into a season 3 and continuing on. So a lot of people are saying, oh, it's just people being negative. It looks like there's something to it, but it's unclear, so we'll see. All be told in time.